Joining us now is Tennessee Senator Marsha Blackburn. Senator, it's great to have you on. Thanks for joining us.
Good to be with you.
You know, we're looking at some of these problems that are coming from the shutdown, and at what point do Democrats, especially Chuck Schumer, say, listen, enough is enough, we'll find our win somewhere else. We're not going to put Americans' lives in danger.
And, of course, we had one of the Democrats posting they would not change until planes started to fall out of the sky.
That's insane.
And that is disgusting to hear them say that. What we do know is this. We have given them 8 chances to vote for a clean funding bill. These are numbers they have voted for 5 times in the past. They have voted no. Chuck Schumer has been planning for this shutdown for a long time, has had a war room set up. We know that the big leftist rallies, those No King rallies, are set for next weekend, and the biggest one is going to be in D.C. And they are saying they want to continue this through those rallies. Chuck Schumer wants to be the big man on campus at that event, wants to throw his fist in the air and say, look at me, I'm fighting Donald Trump. All this while, our troops are not getting paid. President Trump is telling the Department of War to use every means necessary to pay these troops. We also know that 4,000 employees, federal employees, are losing their jobs, and the Democrats don't care. They are that power hungry and that focused on appeasing the far left. So they're not going to stop this. They say they're going to continue.
Well, Senator Blackburn, as the shutdown drags on, the big story today is President Trump's Gaza peace deal, which is, of course, a ceasefire that is holding between Israel and Hamas as of right now, and all remaining hostages are set to be released as early as Monday, and the U.S. is sending 200 troops to Israel to support the deal, while President Trump is expected to head to the region tomorrow. Just some of your thoughts about this deal and where we go from here in terms of maybe solidifying the big picture with maybe some treaties with these other Middle Eastern countries that are more long-term for the president's agenda in the region.
I think we are truly blessed right now, Katie, to have President Trump as President of the United States and Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Steve Witkoff as the principal negotiator on this. It is a remarkable deal, and achieving the goal of getting these hostages released. President Trump looked at this as a problem that needed to be solved. He has looked globally at issues that needed to be solved. And he's tried every way, whether it was tariffs or sanctions or getting people into the Oval Office for discussions. What I find so intriguing about this is people that were holding these Palestinian protest rallies in favor of Hamas or in favor of Palestine. You're not hearing a word from them. Now that there is a resolution to this, this should be something that all people celebrate, that this is being ended.
Senator Blackburn, we're also learning more about the FBI's efforts under Biden to spy on 9 Republican members of Congress. Senator Chuck Grassley released documents related to the Arctic Frost investigation led by Jack Smith and called this weaponization of justice worse than Watergate. Smith obtained phone records of 1 GOP representative and 8 Republican senators, including yours, Senator Blackburn. What an incredible intrusion here. It seems that he was very interested in our Tennessee representation, and of course, you being on that list. What an intrusion, and what is your reaction?
Yeah, you know, Tommy, it is so interesting. The commonality in the list is we're all Republicans. We all support President Trump, and each of us had valid questions about the 2020 election. So after President Trump was indicted in August of 23, then Jack Smith and his Arctic Frost team, his CR-15 unit, decided to spy on us, to pull all of our phone records and look at all of our incoming and outgoing calls, the duration of that call, who that was made to or received from, and, you know, where we were physically located when we either made or received the call. And this is illegal. I sent a letter to the wireless companies to see if they could tell us why they did not challenge this subpoena, why they did not move to quash this subpoena, why there was no communication, and did they not think that this was something that was illegal when they received it. And we will also want to know, and we'll find out from the grand jury records, who actually went to court to get the subpoena and what was the predicate or the reason that they gave for getting this subpoena.
Senator, I want to turn to your home state of Tennessee. In my hometown of Memphis, the National Guard is now on the ground in the Bluff City to help crack down on crime, as the city is one of the most dangerous in the country. I want to know, what are you hearing from residents about what's happening there? You and I have talked multiple times off camera about this. I've told you the welcoming conversations I've had with people in Memphis, but what are you hearing, and where do we expect this to go?
Griff, this is phase 2. Kash Patel did phase 1 from July to September 15th and apprehended over 500 gang members and received over 100 indictments and got many weapons, dozens of weapons off the street. This is phase 2, and you have 13 federal agencies plus the Guard, the TBI, and Tennessee Highway Patrol that are all backing up the Memphis Police Department. They have apprehended over 500 gang members in 9 days. They have been able to rescue 30 missing children. And they're just, people in Memphis are thrilled that they have all of this attention on getting this crime under control. The mayor of Memphis, the police chief, they have all been wonderful to work with, very supportive. I'm grateful to President Trump, AG Bondi, and Director Patel for the emphasis they have put on getting rid of this crime in Memphis. There are over 100 gangs that have been working in Memphis, and to begin to break this apart, we are hopeful these gangs are going to give up and leave the country.
Senator, thank you for joining us. We literally have been around the world in this conversation, and you're helping us understand all of it. I appreciate it. And as a Georgia boy, that state up there in Tennessee isn't so bad. I'm liking it more and more every time we have you on. Senator Marsha Blackburn.
Absolutely. Come see us, Joey.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Katie, I want to go to you to this first because I'm going to walk backwards. We started with the government shutdown. That was my question to the senator. Yeah. Really what I should have asked her, and I'll follow up next time, is there a carrot? Is there anything that if Republicans in the Senate go, you know what, we know we're right here, but people may die from this. What can they offer Chuck Schumer that will bring him to the table? Well,
according to Chuck Schumer and the Democrats, they want NPR refunded with taxpayer dollars. They want to revoke a $50 billion fund for rural hospitals, which Democrats demanded be in the big, beautiful bill. And they also want to fund health care for illegal aliens. So that is what they are wanting. That is what they're willing to watch planes fall out of the sky, in their own words, over for their pet projects. And again, as the senator mentioned, she said that they'd voted for this 5 times. It's actually 13 times that Democrats have voted for clean, continuing resolutions to keep the government open. We have never seen this happen from them, and yet here we are, and they're willing to put lives on the line and federal government jobs, what they claim they really want to go away as a result of their behavior.
Tommy, I work with Greg Gutfeld a lot, and he always jumps on the worse than Watergate because that's what they called everything Trump ever did. Yeah. But, I mean, you're asking her about this idea that they've spied on her, on your senator, on all these other senators. I think Tommy Tuberville, there were several here on the list.
Both of our senators in Tennessee, they spied
on. Yeah. I mean, what do you make of that?
Well, Tennessee is a very happening place, so I mean, I guess maybe we'll take it as a compliment, but this is wild to me. This seems so unconstitutional. I believe it is. That's what Chuck Grassley had said. This is unconstitutional, but I just can't imagine how they talk themselves out of this one. How do they get themselves out of this? This seems like such a breach, such an intrusion, such an invasion. And of course, these senators are taking it with grace, but they're also demanding answers, as they well should, because if this can happen once, this can certainly happen again. This is not going to end when President Trump leaves office. If we have another Democrat administration, they'll do this same thing again. So this is something that needs to be corrected and fixed now.
Griff?
Well, I mean, to Tommy's point, we don't know that it didn't also happen again. We just happen to have uncovered this one because this came about because you have people like Kash Patel that's trying to figure out. I mean, he's only been there for, a year, less than a year. They came in, Dan Bongino said, what have we got here? And they've started to uncover a number of things. And so what's really disconcerting about this is that if that happened with this short list of senators, because it seemed to be we don't know what they were looking for when they were tapping the phones. We don't know exactly what was said, but when we find out, that's going to tell us more. And my concern is that we might find other isolated incidents, which would be an even graver misuse of federal.
Can I follow up on that real quickly?
Yeah,
because I understand this is egregious, atrocious, completely illegal and unconstitutional. But everyday Americans have been dealing with this kind of FBI behavior for years. I mean, the FBI did 200,000 illegal searches on things like Bible words and the word patriot in people's bank accounts. I mean, this has been going on for a long time, and senators have the resources to actually look into this stuff with the new leadership at DOJ and the FBI. But the FBI has been spying on Americans who don't have those resources for the sake of politics for years, and they haven't been held accountable, so they keep doing it to the point where they thought they could get away with doing it to some of those powerful people in the country.
Real quick, I just want to react real quick because, Griff, I should have asked you. But, I mean, she also talked about Memphis and what's happening there, and that is where the governor's working with the president to get the National Guard in there. And if Memphis becomes the second city like D.C. to get safer, because living where I live, Memphis is a beautiful city that is incredibly unsafe. I mean, it's a joke how unsafe it is. And if it becomes the next city that becomes safer, man, that makes Illinois, California, everywhere else look even worse.
It sure does. Quickly, it's important to point out that Memphis may and likely will become the blueprint, the playbook for how to do it.
For other cities, because DC is an outlier.
Because it's an outlier. It's a federal thing.
Title
but Memphis is a small American city that has just gone completely down the tubes, became one of the most dangerous cities in the country. But you look at other places like St. Louis. They should go to St. Louis next, and a handful of others, and this is a great blueprint.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.